TNTM The Show presents TNTM The Show Lore with your host, Pablo Gunner, here talking nerdy to you about what makes TNTM The Show, and why and how we got here, about all the nerdiness. So, I'm going to be talking about videojuegos, video games, from my childhood on up. So, the earliest I really remember is playing video games like Mario, Legend of Zelda, those two games specifically a lot at home on the Nintendo back in Enchanted Hills when I was maybe about 5 or more. That's what I remember playing the most. My primos, my cousins, they always had the opposite consoles, because obviously there's going on up there was we got a Sega, they'd have the Super Nintendo, and it's like we had the opposite. So then we would play at each other's houses. Eventually they would just get everything because there was 3 of them, and eventually there was 3 of us. But my sister 2 years younger, my brother 9, so he was way too young for his own consoles and stuff. But yeah, that was a big thing. And like I said, I spent a lot of time at my cousin Mark, who has been was on the podcast a while back. I call him the factoter slash factotum, and we just have had like so many good times. Like I remember him playing Final Fantasy VII, and I'd be like rooting for him. There's so many games he played, and I was just there like sleeping on the floor or laying on the floor, sitting on the floor, rooting for him. I remember playing Pokemon a lot. Like, yeah, in fact, the other day I was just thinking about this. About I miss playing Pokemon, the card game. I feel like it was such a simple game. Yeah, it was more of like a collectible thing in a way, but like it was so simple. Whereas like MTG is just so there's a lot to it to learn. It's a lot more complex. That's a different kind of gaming. But they integrate, right? Like even the Pokemon games were great. I remember my sister was obsessed with Pokemon Snap, and then like there's a second Pokemon Snap on was it the Switch, which was crazy that they didn't have that for like the Wii U. I was like, that was the perfect thing to have it for. Sega was my thing. I loved Sega. I was really into Sonic. I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with Sonic now, just because like I love Sonic the character. I suck at those games now, and I hate them because like I get even the newer ones, like they or the remastered or revamped or whatever, they get so hard that I'm like, I get so frustrated. I just rage quit after like a few levels, and I'm like, why did I pay so much for this game or these games when I just rage quit them after a while? And I'm like, I don't want them. I mean, I want to keep them because they're Sonic, the nostalgia, right? But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, I don't want you in my sight because I can't. I hate you. But I mean, I love the character and everything, and just so much of that. And then going on, like the Nintendo 64 was a huge part. I feel like GoldenEye was my thing. I've always loved James Bond, and so GoldenEye was. I love that movie. I love that game. To me, that was like the perfect game for so long, and I love playing that with friends. Odd Job and all those like the maps and everything and the sound effects. Like so much of it was just so phenomenal. I just absolutely loved that game. I remember having birthdays where like that was the thing to do for the birthdays, just invite friends over to play GoldenEye. Like that was the dream. To this day, my idea of the perfect birthday is really just the same that I used to do back in the day, which is play video games with friends, go see a movie, and go out to eat. Like that's my ideal birthday day. It's just simple and easy, and and it's crazy because a lot of music connects with that too. Because I remember playing I don't remember which one it was, the PS1 or the PS2. I want to say it was the PS2. I remember distinctly playing video games, Devil May Cry specifically, and then listening to music. Like that, those games had some awesome music, but I would listen to Disturbed, I remember listening to Disturbed, as well as Red Hot Chili Peppers, playing those games. And so they just like, to me, they those two things, those memories connect. I don't have as much time to play video games anymore because I have kids and I because of work and everything, but I still love video games. To me, still to this day, the perfect day is, whereas even if I can only play like 15 minutes of a game, it's a perfect day. Games have just gotten so good and so phenomenal. It's crazy how like back in the day we'd be like, "Oh my god, this is so realistic. This is, the visuals are so amazing." Like, "Oh my god." And then now they're like literally so good. They're almost too realistic to the point like, how do we need them to get better? We don't. Like, they're just going to look like so real. It's going to be like AI is now, where you can slightly tell that it's not real, and that's how it's going to be eventually. I feel like I really wish it would get to the point though where I could play like Call of Duty games with not a real gun, but like something that is similar to a real gun on like a 360 treadmill, where I could get like my exercise, my gaming, my like kind of work training all in one thing, and do that kind of thing all at once. That would be phenomenal. Because like I love Dance Central. Like, oh my god, the Dance Central games, the Guitar Hero games, the Rock Band games. Like, oh my god, I miss that stuff so much. I really wish they would just put out one per generation now. Like, even if it's like at the towards the end of a generation of a console, be like, all right, here's all these new songs and all these new good songs to play for bands and stuff. Oh my god, I love that. Especially like when you could buy your own tracks on Rock Band, and I could play like Dashboard, or Bench Sevenfold, and I'm like, this is perfect. I love this so much, and I would literally have like the mic and playing guitar so I could sing and play the guitar at the same time. Like, oh my gosh. And then especially if you could get friends in on it. That's another thing too, is that playing video games with friends. Like, I remember, playing video games with Marvin Goof, and even playing video games with the Ambassador and with Slay J back in the day. I remember we would, early in our days, not when we were super young. I mean, even when we were young, or in starting the podcast, we were really into Portal. We played Portal 2. It was actually, that was really frustrating and great at the same time. I remember we would play like Call of Duty, and we would just demolish our friends. Like, Slay J and I would just demolish people. We were such a good team that we would just demolish people. And then, of course, our other buddy Aaron, he was phenomenal at Halo, and I've always sucked at Halo, and I always thought it was kind of stupid because it's called Halo Combat Evolved, but you jump and hop around like an idiot, and it's just so juvenile to me. But